Joanne Dury has been playing what could be the most important match of her life tonight. In the semi-final of the US Open Championship, she faced the reigning champion, Chris Lloyd. Miss Dury had never been on centre court at Flushing Meadow before, but after losing the first set, she really began to attack the champion. Mrs. Lloyd was at times outmatched for pace, aggression and inventiveness. But over-aggressiveness produced a series of unforced errors after Miss Dury had completed the hard work of creating the openings. And the strain began to tell as the points stacked up against Miss Dury. She had saved 2 match points, but faced 3 more at 5-4 down and Mrs. Lloyd serving. An honourable defeat by 6-4, 6-4 for Miss Dury, who's now in the world's top 10 following this tournament. And you can see fuller highlights of what was an epic confrontation on BBC Two after Newsnight later on tonight. Defeat for Middlesex in the Shweps County Championship today means the title will depend on the last games of the season, which start tomorrow, when the leaders Essex meet Yorkshire at Chelmsford and Middlesex play Notts at Trent Bridge. Northants won by 7 wickets, so Middlesex are still 13 points behind Essex. Derbyshire beat Notts, Warwickshire scored 417 to beat Glamorgan, and Worcester beat Gloucester. There were draws at Taunton, Hove and Scarborough, and Yorkshire are back at the bottom of the table. 3 results tonight in the Canon League. In Division 3, Orient 1, Scunthorpe 0. And in the 4th Division, Halifax 0, Mansfield 0, and Stockport and Colchester played another goalless draw.
And the main points again. A Russian general in a rare news conference has been answering questions about the Korean airliner. But the Soviet message is still the same. It was spying, so it was shot down. The RAF is sending 6 Buccaneer aircraft to Cyprus as protection for British soldiers in Beirut. That's it from me for tonight. I'll be back with the late headlines at 10 to 12. Until then, good night.
Good evening to you. The thing we'll notice most of all about this weekend is that it will be quite a bit cooler. Not only that, it'll be fairly unsettled. First of all, we have this area of low pressure to contend with. That's bringing outbreaks of rain to southern areas. We have a front in the north that's bringing rain to the north. And once these are out of the way, then it's a case of pulling down these quite cold northerly winds, and they'll bring along a mixture of sunshine and showers for the rest of the weekend. If we look at the satellite picture, you can see what a mess the weather's in. First of all, you can see quite vividly, I think, the area of low pressure down to the south of Ireland. That's where it was this afternoon. Quite a bank of cloud across southern areas of the country, clearer in between, and another bank of cloud over the north. But it's important to note that there's clearer showery weather following along both behind that and behind this system over the south here. Quite a bit of cloud you'll notice over the continent, but we'll get on to that in a minute. As far as this country is concerned, during the course of the night, there could be some bursts of rain cropping up almost anywhere at any time. And tomorrow, probably most places will start off cloudy with some further bursts of rain, but just here and there there'll be some brightness. A few places will be dry as well. The best of the brightness probably in western Scotland and Northern Ireland, but even so in most other parts of the country. As the day goes on, you'll find the weather becoming somewhat brighter. You'll have the sun breaking through, but it won't stay dry because the outbreaks of rain will just turn rather more showery. In the southeastern corner of the country, it may be quite late in the day before it brightens up, and in northeast Scotland, it may never brighten up. There you'll stay cloudy with further rain on and off throughout the day. A fairly windy day in store for most parts, and that wind quite a cold one with a temperature 14 or 15 degrees centigrade. That's only the upper 50s at best. And then if you are heading off for the weekend further afield, you're going to find this quite cool, unsettled weather in many places, certainly in the British Isles and most of northern Europe and Scandinavia. A mixture of sunshine and showers, perhaps even some longer spells of rain as well. When you head off into the Mediterranean, though, there you'll come across the usual dry weather with a good deal of sunshine and very warm too. Although in Spain, to begin with, there'll be 1 or 2 showers around, those moving into Italy and Yugoslavia.
Saturday evening entertainment on BBC One. At 6:15, the Late Late Breakfast Show. And just who will be Noel Edmonds' victim this week?
It's Bob Morgan, who's up in Liverpool. Right.
7 o'clock in Blankety Blank, Russell reads Terry's stars.
Terry, what sign are you?
Leo.
Leo. Charming,
That's me.
debonair,
That too.
and big heads.
In Juliet Bravo at 7:35, an anonymous phone call triggers an emergency.
George, contact the engineers and get a trace on this call. We've got a suicide in our hands.
At 8:25, Three of a Kind shows how not to succeed with women.
We've been brought together by something stronger than both of us.
What, your aftershave?
No.
At 9:10, Remington Steele exceeds his brief, to the dismay of his creator.
You know, you're beginning to believe your own publicity. You are not Remington Steele. I invented Remington Steele. He's a figment of my imagination.
At 10 o'clock, Match of the Day. Jimmy Hill presents action highlights from 2 First Division games with a roundup of sports news from Bob Wilson. At 10:50, The Long Goodbye stars Elliot Gould as a recreation of Detective Philip Marlowe.
The hell are you? Well, I'm this here private investigator who was sent here this afternoon to find you, but the good doctor here dummied up.
Entertainment for Saturday night on BBC One.
This is BBC One. And now we come to the final part of The Godfather, the complete story.